One other question.
Oh, yeah. No, you're good. We can edit this out. Yeah.
When are you planning to launch this? Because that'll depend on like how I
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about.
Next week. So next
Oh, okay.
Wednesday. Does that work?
Okay, perfect. Yes, that's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. All right. I'll just go ahead and get started. Hello and welcome to episode 20 of the Nourish and Strengthen podcast. I can't believe we're at episode 20. And I have a really fun guest for you guys today. Today we have Rachel Coons on the show, and we're going to be talking about something that is so important right now, right, Rachel? That is how to save money on groceries. Like they're so expensive, right? So excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So tell me your story. Tell me what you do. I know that, you're big on helping people save money on groceries. How did you get into this and why are you so passionate about it?
Okay, it's actually like kind of a funny story.
Cool.
So I have a background in health and wellness. That was what I majored in. That's what I teach fitness classes. I've been personal
Mhm.
trainer. And then in 2020, like when the world shut down, I'm also a mom of 4 kids. And I decided to start an Instagram just sharing like easy, fun, frugal dinner ideas for
Yeah.
people with busy lives. And so I started doing that and it was really fun. And then, end of 2020, early 2021, inflation started, going crazy. Groceries were
Yeah.
getting more expensive. And I just felt the need to really focus on our grocery budget. And I started
Okay.
sharing that with my followers and
Yeah.
was sharing with them, like, this is what I'm doing. And it kind of just exploded from there. I feel like this picked me, I didn't pick it, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so just sharing what I was doing and helping other families. And then I saw other people were having like these massive savings in their groceries by doing what I was sharing. And I just kind of rolled with it. And now, now I've helped thousands of families cut their grocery spending in half through
That's
my
so
shop method, which
cool.
I'm sure we'll talk about
We
later. But
will.
yes,
Yes. That
it's
is so
so fun.
cool.
Yes.
So, I mean, we'll address the elephant in the room and that you are Amber Brieseke's sister. And so,
Yes. Yes, I am. Yes.
yeah. So if you guys have heard of Biceps After Babies, Rachel and Amber are sisters. And I feel like your story is similar to hers. She said like her Instagram started with just sharing her own journey and it kind of turned into something she never expected. So that's pretty cool. That kind of happened to both of you guys.
Totally.
That's awesome. So, I mean, I say we just jump right in and cut to the chase. Like, if you had a few of your top tips, like someone who's totally new to you, hasn't seen your Instagram, what would you say would be your top tips for saving money on groceries?
Okay, so the number one tip I would say is to really limit your grocery trips. So a
Okay.
lot of the times, we know that when you go to the grocery store, you're going to spend money. It's like
Yeah, I
walking
mean,
into Target,
I
like,
was just gonna say that. That's like
yeah.
the joke of all moms, right?
Yes, so we know that that's happening, and most of the time you're buying things that aren't necessarily intentional because you're going to the grocery store, you're just grabbing whatever you need. But then you come home and your kids eat through all the food and then you go
Yeah.
back in 2 days. And so really spacing out your grocery trips will help you spend less. It kind of seems it's intuitive, but a lot of people just don't plan before they go to the grocery
Hmm.
store and they don't really focus on stocking up and having a plan to not go back, within the week. So
Yeah.
when we space out our grocery trips, I teach 2 week grocery shopping, but
Hmm.
even if you can space it out to 1 week grocery shopping, I'll see people save a lot of money just doing that.
Yeah.
And then
That's a great tip.
another tip that is really helpful, obviously, is meal planning. And I know that when I say meal planning, everyone just cringes and wants to poke their eyes out.
Well, that's
But
funny
meal
because
planning,
my last episode was on meal prep, and so this is kind of a perfect
yes,
next
yes,
episode.
we're teasing into meal prepping. Meal
Yes.
planning doesn't have to be complicated. It's really like I am a really simple person, and if
Hmm.
something is complicated and takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, I won't do it. So I've really
Hmm.
focused on like simplifying meal planning and making it doable. It doesn't take you a ton of time. Um, and that way you can plan out what foods you need. I mean, it kind of goes back to shopping less, but
Hmm.
when you have a meal plan, you then know exactly what foods you need so you can stock up for the week. You can stock up for 2 weeks at a time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
Um,
that's a big tip.
Okay. I have follow-up questions on these tips, but why
I'm
don't you
sure
get your
you do.
tips out and then
Okay.
I'm like, I have so many questions.
And then another tip is really trying to eliminate food waste.
Okay.
So
That's
average
a hard one.
the average American family throws out 30% of the food they buy.
No
So
way.
literally you could go to the grocery store and buy $100 worth of food and throw $30 in the trash as you're walking out. And first off, I
Wow.
think that's just horrible stewards of our environment, right? We like should be
Totally.
utilizing what we have. And also it's money. So every
Mm-hmm.
time you throw out that produce, and what is things that we throw out? It's our perishables.
Yeah.
So again, going to the store less, consuming quite as much, not buying quite as much food, and then really utilizing the food that you have on hand before you
Mm-hmm.
ever go buy more food will help lessen your food waste.
Okay, I love that. And I mean, I think just yesterday I pulled out some parsley, cilantro, and radishes. I was like, I have a whole bunch of like moldy weeds growing in the back of my fridge. What is going on?
Yes, yes. Yeah, I mean it's hard to
Yeah.
really focus on that, but it will make a big difference.
Awesome. Do you have more tips or should I dive into these ones?
Let's dive into those ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to go back to the first one. So you talk about shopping twice a month or, even once a week, but let's talk about twice a month. How do you even do that? Like, I don't know I'm pretty good personally at meal planning for like the week, but I feel like that next week, I mean, I have no idea. So how do you do that?
Yes. So obviously it takes some time. I don't say like,
Okay.
oh, if you're grocery shopping once a week, just jump right to 2 weeks. It's a
Mm-hmm.
slow, gradual process because you don't know how much to buy and you got to figure that out for yourself. Obviously, my family is different than everybody else's families.
Really
But
quick, how old
really,
are your kids? How old are your kids? Just so people can
so
kind of relate.
my oldest is 9 and my youngest is almost 3. So
Okay.
young, on the younger spectrum.
Yeah, you're getting
Um,
into teenagers that eat a ton.
I am. Everybody says that. They're like, you don't have teenagers. I'm like, I know, but I've worked with lots of students who do. So
Sure. Yes.
but week meal planning, it starts at 2 week grocery shopping, it starts with meal planning.
Okay.
So meal planning for 2 weeks. And that's something that the reason I like it is because I don't really like meal planning. So why
Mm-hmm.
not space out your meal planning?
True.
Like doing it every other week instead of every week. And then you're picking your meals for that second week. And I simplify breakfast and lunch, and I really just focus on those dinner
Okay.
meals that I need. And then it's like testing out what things do we go through faster than not.
Mm-hmm.
I also utilize my freezer a ton.
Do you
So
have to?
I do, yes.
Okay.
And I definitely recommend if you are looking to save less on groceries, having a second freezer is one of
Mm-hmm.
a really easy way to do that because you can freeze perishables, you can freeze
Mm.
produce, you can freeze your milk, you can freeze your bread, you can freeze those
Really?
things
I've
that,
never frozen milk before. It
oh
makes
yeah,
sense. I don't know why yeah,
yes,
that's awesome.
yes. So freezing again, those are the things that are what is causing you to go back to the grocery store between
Mm.
trips, right?
Okay.
And finding out those things and then figuring out how you can make those last longer, if you can freeze them or not, and getting those
Yeah.
things to last longer will then help 2 week grocery shopping become
Have you
easier.
ever have you ever frozen Greek yogurt or cottage cheese, anything like that?
I stay away from like other than milk, I don't really I mean I'll freeze like cheese,
Okay.
shredded
Yeah. Yeah.
cheese, but
Yes. Same.
no. Greek
Yeah.
yogurt lasts a long time though.
It does. That's true. That's true, actually. That would totally last the 2 weeks. I guess I'm thinking maybe you're going to coach me a little bit here. I guess I'm thinking like if it's time to go to the grocery store and I have half a tub left, I guess I'd just buy another tub, right? Do you have two fridges?
But my fridge holds a lot. My fridge is big.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, we can kind of start. Yeah, I mean, chances are like looking at expiration dates and saying, okay, I only have half a tub left. Will we get through another tub before the next expiration date? And here's the
Okay.
other thing. 2 week grocery shopping doesn't mean that you can't go to the grocery store, in between that time. But
Okay.
really you're focusing on buying your meal planning for 2 weeks, your bulk buying all the things that you can. And then that's, that off week, if you need to order some groceries and get some perishables,
Hmm.
nothing wrong with that. We just want to focus our main grocery shopping for the 2 weeks at a time.
Okay, that feels way more doable. I really like that. You mentioned ordering. I've been a big fan of ordering groceries from Walmart for like ever, and I
Oh
get them
yeah.
delivered. But I know you're passionate about this. Talk to me about that.
So passionate about it.
Yeah.
First off, we're busy moms. So
Yeah.
why not make our lives easier, right? Walmart delivery is what, $100 a year? It's the best
I
$100 you'll
think
ever
it's like
spend.
80 or something.
It
I
might,
mean,
it
you
might
probably know
even be
better than
cheaper
me.
than that.
Yeah, I don't
Yes,
know.
I think it's like 90 something. Anyways,
Yeah.
it's so cheap and it really makes your life so much easier. But
Mhm.
beyond that, you're going to save so much money because you're more intentional with everything that you buy. When we
Yeah.
go to the grocery store, we're walking through the grocery store, we get distracted, we get excited about things that we weren't planning on buying. It just helps sticking to a list. And then one of the things I love about it as well is there's a running total. Like as you're adding
Mm,
things to your cart, you can see how much you're spending. And so if you
very good
have a goal
point.
in mind, if you have a budget, you know if you're under that budget or not. There's no
Hmm.
walking up to the cashier and being like, often does this happen at Costco where you just like throw things at the
And
cashier
you're
and it
like,
ends up
I
being,
hope, right?
yeah, and then it ends up being $500 when you only wanted to spend 200. So it's
Totally.
just making you, and I'm really big about this. I talk about this a lot on my social media,
Hmm.
is becoming intentional spenders. So
Hmm.
just becoming intentional. We want to have an intention as how much do you want to spend? What is your goal number? And then how do we buy food to become intentional with that spending? And then this trickles in to every aspect of your life, being intentional with all what are your priorities and how can we align your priorities with your actions?
Yeah, I love that. Okay, I want to ask you a question. It wasn't on our plan, but I know you know this answer and you're going to blow people's minds. Can you tell us how much your family spends on groceries or your guideline for per person? I can't remember what it is off the top of my head.
Yeah, so I actually am under the number. So I'm going to say the number first and then I'll say what I'm
Okay.
spending.
You
So
bragger.
that one, I've been doing this for a long time.
I know,
And
I'm
this is
just
what I
kidding.
do for a living, right? So this is my
Sure.
focus. But I recommend $150 per person every single month. So you take them out in your family and you
Wow.
times it by 150 and that's your goal budget. And I just have to say that's going to like people are going to give me so much pushback. They always do. But
Hmm.
I'm telling you, I've worked with thousands of people and they've been able to do it and so many different life circumstances. And
Yeah.
you can do it. You 100% can do it. You just have to believe it and implement the things that I teach.
So what do you do? So you have a family of six.
So,
So
family of six. So,
what's
and
six
again,
times
my
150? I
family
don't know.
is
900.
so 900 would be the goal. I spend about $700 a month. Seven
Oh,
fifty is where I'm at.
Rachel, you would die. Should I tell you how much I spend?
You know what? You can't shock me. Really, like I've worked with a lot of people. You can't shock me,
Well,
but I am curious.
I actually don't exactly know because I do know. I'm really good at budgeting. I use Mint, but my problem is I get gas at Costco and Sam's a lot, and I don't
Yeah.
really decipher like, okay, that transaction was gas, and that transaction was groceries. So it's usually 1,800 to 2,100. There's only three of us living at home, although I do buy my college kids stuff here and there. But that can include some gas. So sometimes my gas is like only $50 and I'm like, oh, there must have been more gas transactions into grocery. But that's so
Right.
high, right? I can't imagine spending
It doesn't, it
450.
doesn't, it doesn't blow my mind, but really it just gets me so excited because sorry, you're going to be able to cut that really fast and really easily with just some simple changes.
Okay, so here's my other question. I'm getting off topic, but these are my questions that I am wondering. So, and it's my podcast. So,
I love it. I love it.
so I know you talk about like, it's cost more for convenience to buy the dinners that are already done, like at Costco, all that kind of stuff. But what if I like that and I want to do that?
So that goes back again to priorities.
Yeah.
So everybody's at different financial situations. I know you work, your husband works, you guys have a busy life. Are your priorities aligning with your spending? If your priority is I'm doing other things that are more important than spending
Mm,
less on groceries, then I have like I think that's awesome. I have nothing
hmm.
more to say about that. But if you are someone who is like groceries are causing me stress, it's
Yes.
like hindering my financial progress. I wish I could spend less on groceries. Then yeah,
Yes.
let's take some time to figure this out. If you are
Yeah.
someone who's like I love buying the pre-made meals and I can afford it and I have nothing, there's nothing wrong with that, then great.
Mhm.
I'm super happy for you.
Yeah. So I think I do love it and it's easy and I like that, but I almost think it'd be a fun challenge to see if I can save $500 a month and do something else with
Totally.
that money. You know what I
Well,
mean?
and to be honest too, a lot of the times when you are paying for those convenience meals, I mean, I love those meals from Costco. They're delicious.
Hmm.
A lot of the time, you could spend 15 minutes and create the same exact
I'm
meal, right?
sure. Yes.
Right?
Much faster than you think.
Yes, and,
Yeah.
like, if you factor in the time it takes for you to get in the car, drive to Costco, shop at Costco, come home, like, you could have done that way faster in your
Yeah.
house.
Yeah, that's a great challenge. I totally get that. Let's talk about produce for the 2 weeks.
Sure.
Like, what can you freeze? How do you manage that? 2 week shopping with produce.
Right, so 2-week shopping, the biggest pushback is people say, like, "My produce will not last that long. There's no way I can go 2 weeks." And I just like to question that because there's a lot of produce that won't last 2 weeks, like, you're looking at, like, berries and those
Hmm.
kinds of things. There's a lot of produce that will last 2
Yeah,
weeks.
sure.
And so in that second week, especially when you're getting to, like, day 12, day 13, day 14, focusing on those meal plans, what you're cooking and eating is more on the long lasting produce. So you're really utilizing freezer if you need to, and the produce that will last the full 2 weeks. As
Mhm.
far as freezing produce, the best way to know what to freeze is to go to the grocery store and look in the freezer section.
Oh, true.
Everything that's in there,
Yeah.
freeze at home. So, I mean, I was in the freezer section a couple months ago and I saw corn on the cob. And I was like, I had no idea you could freeze corn on the cob. And so now, if I
Right.
have corn on the cob in my fridge that's about to go bad, I'll throw it in a Ziploc and put it in the freezer.
Interesting. That's so cool. Would you cook it first? Or does
So
it not matter?
I usually do it raw and then I'll cook it
Okay.
when it's thawed. But,
Okay.
but be like, I wouldn't eat it as like corn on the cob.
Yeah, you'd
Usually
cut it
it's
off.
going to be more, yeah, like in a
Yeah.
corn salsa or in a dish of some type.
Yes. Yes. That makes sense.
So,
Okay. Um, Talk about meal planning process. I know it sounds so easy, but what do you do? Do you really just sit down with a calendar and like just walk us through that, even if it seems kind of obvious?
yeah, so my process again, super simple. I focus first before I ever think about meal planning. I am looking at my pantry and what I have on hand first. So
Hmm.
opening up my fridge, seeing what perishables I have, and then creating meals around those items. Another thing that I really focus on is having an essentials list. Now
Oh, that's okay.
this is going to be different for everybody, but it's basically essentials that you need to have that's going to keep you out of the grocery store. So butter, milk, eggs, produce, like those types of things that if I don't have it, I have to go to the grocery store.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I first build my grocery cart. Again, I order online, but I build my grocery cart on my essentials first. So
Okay.
what items do I need and adding those into my cart. Then from there, I check out where my budget is. So if
Hmm.
I'm shopping every 2 weeks, my grocery budget is about $350 for that
Okay.
2 week trip. So after adding my essentials, where am I at? What is my number at? And then going from there to create the meal plan. Because meal planning inherently doesn't save you money because if I meal planned super expensive meals, I wouldn't save
Hmm.
any money.
Sure.
But if my grocery budget, if I'm way under my grocery budget, then I can kind of incorporate more expensive meals.
Yeah.
If I'm getting closer to my grocery budget, then I really focus on like, okay, again, utilizing what I have on hand, and then those frugal dinner recipes is where I'll focus on and building my meal plan from that. But
Okay.
you don't have to. The thing about meal planning is you don't have to think up meals. Let your pantry tell you what to cook. Don't tell your pantry what you're going to cook. Like
That's a great thought. I love that.
utilizing what you have on hand will save you so much money because, in fact, we just wrapped up a shop the shelf challenge, is what I call it, shop the
Hmm.
shelf. We
Hmm.
just wrapped up a shop the shelf challenge inside my community, and people were mind blown at how much food they have in their kitchen. We just
Yeah.
don't even realize it.
What if you look in your pantry and you're like, I see all these random things, but I don't know how to use that in a meal?
Message me on Instagram and I will help you out.
Okay. 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 Fair.
But really, Google is like your best friend. Go to
Yeah.
Google, type in recipes with rice and broccoli, and
Oh, yeah, totally.
out whatever recipes are available. Yeah, you could totally utilize that.
That's a great idea. I feel like I've heard of websites too, but I can't think of them off the top of my head that do that also.
I actually don't even think the websites are that good. I've
Oh,
played around with some
really?
of them and I've never been that impressed. But
Okay,
Google,
okay.
super impressed.
Okay, perfect. So let's kind of switch the focus here to talk about healthy eating on a budget. Do
Yes.
you find, I feel like sometimes all the sales and savings and coupons are on like processed foods. And I love how you mentioned that your background is in like health and wellness, and that's how it kind
Right.
of started. So talk about that. How do you prioritize like saving money while trying to eat healthy still?
Right, and this is one of the reasons that I'm not a couponer and I actually don't teach couponing
Mm,
because I think couponing just leads to processed foods and that's not
yeah,
my MO. That's not what I want to feed my family. That's not what I'm focused on.
right.
So everybody says, well, eating healthy is more expensive than not. And the truth is, whole foods are cheaper than processed foods. When
Mm-hmm.
you go to the grocery store and you shop the outer rim versus that inner rim that has the processed foods, you are going to spend less.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because processed foods require manufacturing and packaging and all those other things. In fact, I was just at Sam's Club yesterday and my jaw dropped when I saw how much that box of Cheez-Its cost. I think it was like $12
No
for
way.
I feel like that's gone up way more
It
since
has, I mean,
COVID.
we buy it. One of my college girl, she loves Cheez-Its, and I just bought her a box, but I didn't even pay attention to the prices. I'm the worst,
I
Rachel.
we're just gonna this is gonna make you more intentional. You're just gonna notice
Yes,
things a little
I
bit more.
will.
But I was mind blown by that. Like, yeah, I could throw Cheez-Its at my kids, or I could give them a bowl of Greek yogurt with some fruit, and they're gonna
Uh-huh.
be eating healthier, and it's so much more affordable. Um,
Yeah.
and then like also when we pack our snacks and our meals, which is something that obviously you're big about, is we
Mm-hmm.
pack it with protein. You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna eat less, and you're gonna be eating healthier. So really focusing on low cost protein options will get you to spend less and eat healthier.
Yeah, that's a great point. Talk to me about your kids, what they snack on. That is fascinating to me because I mean, my kids, even though we do focus on being healthy, we do still have, processed snacks and treats and stuff in our house. But I've been inspired by your kids' snacks. So let's talk about that.
Okay, so actually, we don't really snack in my household.
Okay. Okay, let's
We're
talk about that.
not big snackers. So I really focus on meal times, getting them a
Okay.
full meal. Now, that's not to say that my kids don't eat something in between meals because I know that they get hungry, but my focus is not on, I do not buy prepackaged snacks for the
Okay.
most part.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I looked in the pantry yesterday, our only prepackaged snacks were like applesauce and some bars.
Okay.
So again, people are like, well, I'm buying all these snacks for my kids and they're eating them all up. And then I have to go buy more and it's super expensive. And my question is, why are you buying them? Why are you
Mm-hmm.
buying the snacks? If the snacks are not there, the kids will not eat it.
Mm-hmm.
So I focus on, the snacks are toast, popcorn, apples and peanut butter, those things
Mm-hmm.
that maybe they're not quite as convenient as grabbing a bag of goldfish out of the pantry, but they're not that hard. And the kids know how to make them and they like them and it's healthier for them.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I love that. That's great. I find that my kids will be like, well, there's nothing to eat here, like when we don't have
Right.
all the snacks. But that's probably just a habit you need to break.
And it's something that you've trained them that like that's what's going to be in the
Hmm.
pantry. Like luckily my kids are kind of young enough that they know.
Sure.
Um Yeah, it just will take some time. I know, like when I started 2 week grocery shopping, my husband Brad was like, "There's no food in the house,"
Yeah.
at the second week, and I really had to train him that, like, even though maybe the fridge doesn't look quite as stocked as it normally does, there's still tons of food in the house. There's
Right.
still snacks. There's still
There's
things that you can
definitely
eat.
not no food. Right, for sure.
Yes, right, 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 right.
Oh, that is awesome, Rachel. Why don't you give us an overview of kind of how you help people? Like you've mentioned students, your community. What do you offer?
Sure. So, my shop method is what I teach. That's how I teach the process of saving money. It goes from like before you ever even head to the grocery store, what you're doing at home, and then how to get your groceries from the grocery store to your house, and then prepare your meals to save time and money. And that is the shop method. And inside my community, it's called the Shop Society. That's where I teach my shop method.
Hmm.
And we supply meal plans. We have a community on Facebook. We do live calls. And then obviously there's modules to teach that. So that's called the Shop Society. and it's super fun. We've got over 200 members, and
That's so awesome.
I love doing that. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok and, all the things.
Yes, yes. And tell everybody your handle so we can find you.
My handle is Hey Rachel Coons. Pretty
Okay.
easy.
Yes, super
to
easy.
find. And I share
Perfect.
tips and stuff on there. But yes, I love it.
That is so awesome. And you do share a lot of budget-friendly recipes that are healthy. I've saved a lot of your stuff. So.
And your Greek yogurt recipe is now like our favorite. In fact, I didn't tell you this.
Did you make it yesterday?
Yes. Well, I have some downstairs, but I'll tag you in the reel today. But
okay, yeah.
I asked on Instagram, like, who wants me to post my Instant Pot Greek yogurt recipe?
Yeah.
And I had over 800 people say yes.
No way.
On that.
Well, I almost voted yes too. Maybe I did actually, because I wanted to be like, oh, I want to see her recipe. I didn't realize it was the same one that I posted.
I tweaked yours a little bit, but it's all pretty similar, but I love it. My kids love it. My kids like eat it up so fast.
My kids, my daughter doesn't. Well, no, she did. When I made it for her, like good with a little stevia and berries and stuff, she was like, oh, actually, this is really good. But I got it from, it's not really mine. I got it from Meg Miles. Do you know Meg Miles?
Oh, I don't.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't actually know her either. That's where I got it. So
that's awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll tag you in the reel today, because you were the one that inspired me to do that.
Oh, awesome. Just a heads up. I did try it recently with 1% milk. I didn't like it as much. I feel like 2% is way better.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's what I've been doing is 2%.
Yeah. I think that I couldn't find, I don't remember why. Oh, I didn't want to go to the store and we just had 1% milk on hand. And so I used it and I was like, not as good, not as creamy. So
I'm not really convinced that it's saving you a ton of money.
Okay.
It tastes so good. Like,
I know.
It really is so tasty.
Yes. So why don't you think it's saving money? Because you just have to buy the gallon of milk.
A carton of Greek yogurt is like $3, $4, maybe. Well, like if I buy the Walmart brand, that Chobani I think is like $5. A gallon of milk is like $3 too.
Sure.
So
and it takes
like
18 hours. Yeah.
Yes, but it tastes good, and I feel like it also has cleaner ingredients, right? You're more in control of what's in it. So I love it.
I totally agree. I was making it every week until I tried it with the 1% and I didn't even finish it. So I was like, meh.
Oh no. Well, that was a fail.
Yeah, it was. So heads up, don't make it with 1%. I mean, I guess unless you need it as low calorie as possible, but it's way better with 2. I even think it'd be really good with like 5 or 4 or something, but anyway, I think is there anything else you want to close with? I think that those were all of my burning questions.
I was gonna say that I think this podcast is coming out soon. I am doing a workshop, a free workshop.
Awesome.
If you kind of want to dive into this more, it will be on the 18th.
Okay. When is that?
October.
Oh, that is after, because we're launching this next week. So yeah, perfect. And so we can find info on that on your Instagram?
Yeah, it's just heyrachelcoons.com/3 mistakes workshop. But yes, it's on Instagram. You can sign up for it there.
Oh, that's a great way for people to just kind of get into your ecosystem and learn more. I love that.
Sure. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thanks for being on, Rachel.
Thanks so much.